All right, Vanderbilt taking care of business 45-3 against Charleston Southern. What a way to open up the season. Here we go.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, anchor down. Good evening, all you Vanderbilt fans. Welcome in. It's the live edition of the Locked On Vandy podcast, the postcast edition of the Locked On Vandy podcast. Welcome in. We are live, like I said, 45-3. Your game just went final. Charleston Southern coming in, Vanderbilt taking care of business, was 7 seconds away from a shutout. 45-3, covering the spread, and an absolutely amazing performance top to bottom for this Commodore team. The backups came in, not much drop off there, which would have been expected. Diego Pavia looking sharp. The defense was swarming around the wide receivers, the receiving core. The biggest question mark coming into the season was the receiving core. Not anymore. So we got a lot to talk about here. Your comments, anchor down. We already got one in the comments here. Anchor down. Join in the show. Let me know what you think of the game. If you were at the game, if you are watching on TV, however you consume this game, let me know your thoughts, initial reactions, all of that stuff. But we got a great show lined up for you. And, of course, this one's presented by FanDuel today. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. So, initial reaction, honestly, is when you come into a game like this, it is always, and you saw it all throughout the day today. You saw it all afternoon. These games against these FCS opponents or lower G5 opponents, you just lose focus. Like I was watching the Georgia game earlier, in between commercial breaks with the Alabama-Florida State game earlier this afternoon, and Georgia was clearly the better team. It was obvious they were the better team. They just lost focus throughout the game at certain points, and they weren't in danger of losing, but they just didn't look great. So those are the things you worry about in these matchups. And yeah, Corey, I'm worried about the punter. He didn't get enough reps today. It was a great game. But you worry about the focus in these games. You worry about, like, when you get to a certain point, you hit a lull. Like, you get up 21 points and you just kind of coast. That's just natural human reaction. And Vanderbilt, for a very brief second, did that. But they got it right back on track, and the defense kept it going, kept it on even keel. Great season debut for Steve Gregory. Looks like he's learned a lot of things over the offseason. Looks like he did a lot of professional development, a lot of soul searching, a lot of work with Clark Lee to kind of refine what they want to do, what they're good at, how he wants to call. He's kind of got his style now, and it's aggressive. And I love it, dude. He is those guys are swarming. They're playing extremely hard for him. It is absolutely amazing. Fortunately, couldn't attend in person. I'm so proud of seeing the stadium full of Vanderbilt fans, first time in years. Yeah, I mean, that as well. I mean, you see the energy around this program is unbelievable. And I saw on social media, unfortunately, I wasn't able to as well. But the videos on social media, the packed house, it's all black and gold. And like usually for games like this, it's sparse. And of course, when it got 28-0, 35-0, the crowd thinned out a little bit. People wanted to go home and watch this LSU Clemson game, but it's, it's amazing to see. Like, that's great. And unfortunately it was streaming and not on TV, but it's great to see that stadium is full. Like, the Vanderbilt fans are starting to come around. The energy is at an all-time high around this program, and they showed out, right? And Vandy of years past would have probably struggled throughout that game and would have probably won by a comfortable margin, but you would have left going, okay, I have questions about this, that, and the other, right? You would have had a lot of questions coming out of this game. Like, we do have some questions, but like, I think the team is playing in it all. The energy is great. The fan energy is great. The atmosphere is going to be amazing. If they can do that every single week in the stands, it's going to be an amazing atmosphere. And it's going to be a really tough place to play. I mean, those of you that were there, hopefully I get somebody that was there. Tell me about the noise. And I want to, I'm looking forward to getting in the new stadium and just kind of seeing how it operates. But I'm extremely excited about the result of this one. Like I said, got to say, even as Vandy looked pretty good, the crowd was full of Vandy fans and not just full of away teams fans. Yeah, I didn't think Charleston Southern was going to bring a lot of fans. So the first real home game, we'll know kind of how that stands. But Jacob, your Vols look good too, man. And Joey Aguilar had a really nice game against Syracuse, by the way. So shout out to you on that, even as a Vol fan. So great day for football, man. Great stories. But yeah, it's Vandy of old would have had another East Tennessee State debacle. Yeah. And Corey, that's what I was trying to like. I wanted to bring like awareness to that earlier this week. And that's kind of why I did that episode. Like I knew it wasn't a true trap game, but like that episode, I think it's important to be like, okay, well, we can't just walk around. We're not there yet to where we can just walk around and assume that every game's a win. You have to go out and actually take it. And you lose focus against a team like that. They played hard. They got some talent there. They're going to be a different team. They're not going to be a 1-11 team this year. They were pretty good. I was impressed with what with how hard they played. I think they've got some good pieces. That Zolakowski kid on defense, that linebacker, he came through and threw a Evander Holyfield right hook and knocked the ball out of Setty's hands down in the red zone. But like those guys can play, dude. Those guys are going to be good in their conference. I think they're going to have a solid year. So I'm very, very excited about the direction of this program. But yeah, I wanted to warn against that. I wanted to make sure we put that out there that, hey, if you don't focus, any team can beat you. And I'm glad they did. And I don't know if they heard what I said, but I think they definitely erased any sort of doubt that they're going to have a lack of focus throughout any of these games. So, Connor, yeah, the best of the stadiums look in terms of Vandy turnout in quite some time. Yeah, hell yeah. And that's awesome. I mean, that's where it needs to be. That's where, like, I think if Vandy fans can do that consistently, I think we'll be singing a completely different tune throughout the season. I think this could be a totally different program if Vandy fans would just come out on a frequent basis. This is a great start to that. So I'm glad to see that this stadium was jam-packed, and that was great. Offense score in the 60s, but I'm happy the score we got. First half was fire. So, Nate, yeah, everyone wants to see in the 60s, but the way our offense plays, 45 points is pretty much 60. I mean, they were, their ball control, they're run heavy, so they're going to eat clock, all that good stuff, and they're going to, they're going to hold on to the ball. They're going to keep possession. So, like, 45 points is really good, really high output for this offense. So that was impressive. They were sharp, man. Diego Pavia he was hanging in there. There was one throw he made. Defender was barreling down. I think it was a near touchdown, I believe. The defender was barreling down on him, actually hit him as he threw it. He hung in there and rifled it, which Diego Pavia last year would have bailed as soon as he saw that guy. So that was great. The triple option was back. I loved all the formations, all the motions, all the different looks, all the different personnel groups. Like, I loved all of that, and that is great. And Nate, to your point, I think if Pavia would have played the entire game, they would have scored in the 60s. But they wanted to give Berlowitz some run, which they should have. 8-4, which would be insane. They got another big win at home. LSU looks pretty strong right now at Clemson. I think that's a tricky game there. Auburn looked good, but I don't know about their long-term deal. I don't know that Baylor's is good, and Baylor can hang out up front with any team in this league. But the 8 solid options to throw to. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But another thing is that, and Yeah, Jacob. That's the biggest thing, and Vandy fans are starting to appear now, right? And part of that is because the team is giving them something to appear for. But I think it kind of goes both ways. Like the team gets juiced up on that, and the fans get juiced up on the team. So like they kind of feed each other. And I think if they keep that, like I said, I think if you keep that momentum, that's something that can really take root, and you could really Vandy fans could really make that place a tough place to play. Like there could be some home field advantage there because I think the way it's constructed is it's small, but I think the way it's built and the steepness in the end zones with the Huber Center and the south end zone, it traps a lot of the noise. And I'm curious to see how loud it is from field level, but like I think you could get some noise going in there. So that'll be interesting as we go. But here's some things I noticed. With this game. Diego Pavia had full control of the offense, man. His poise was there. It's definitely improved. His pocket presence, his pocket awareness. He was a maestro back there, man. He was straight dealing. He was on the box score. He was 20 of 25. He scored 3 touchdowns. And accounted, was a part of, obviously all of them in the option game. So that was phenomenal there. Wide receivers, man, like I said, we have a bunch of guys. Junior Sherrill, Trey Richardson, Caleb Barnett got the first touchdown of the season. The freshman did not know he was going to have as big of a role as he did, but man, that guy can go, man. He's going to be special. Tristan Brown had some run. Richie Hoskins had a nice night. They all contributed in big ways. And, the biggest part about that offensively is the run game benefited tremendously. The run game was a huge beneficiary because it widens the defense. They had to play the pass. Receivers are getting open. They're creating separation. They're making contested catches where they weren't last year. And there's just more options. There's more guys. They're just sharper, right? They're just sharper. So I'm very much impressed with the way this offense was able to operate and the poise that Diego Pavia operated it with, because he was able to. I mean, he was calm back there. Like he was able to go through his reads. He set up a defender like he was sitting. The defender thought he had him dead to rights. He just slipped right up underneath him, scrambled, big yards, got a first down. It's stuff like that lets you know that Diego Pavia has progressed, and he is not the same old Diego Pavia. He knows how teams want to attack him. It's obvious. And he's setting up defenders now. He is doing little things that's making this team improve. That's why he was 20 of 25. That's why he was sharp. And yes, you could say it's Charleston Southern. You really could. But again, like it's all about kind of how Vandy comes out and plays. If they come out that sharp against Virginia Tech, they won't be able to defend them either, right? And they're going to be even more fired up because I feel like Diego Pavia gets fueled with people booing him. He just kind of he comes off to me as that kind of person. But Jacob, to answer your question, I think it's 35. It's not much. I think it's like 35 or 40. Yeah, it sounded loud. Yeah, it got loud at times, and I thought the same thing. I'm curious to see how it actually sounds in person, but it didn't do much for the capacity because you didn't add many seats, but you just added structure, you added luxury seats, you added experience, to the stadium. So that was good, and that's something that also stood out to me. The stadium looked phenomenal. That's probably a big takeaway there. But here's the box score. The tail of the tape here, 45-3, your final, 25 first downs, third down efficiency. They were 6 of 9 on that, 21 of 28 passing as a team. Diego Pavia, 20 of 25 himself. Berlowitz didn't attempt that many passes. They passed for 201. Actually, no, they passed for 280. Rushed for 201, so very balanced as far as that goes. Penalties, they had 7 penalties. Would love to clean up some of these holding calls, but held the ball for 31 minutes, 10 seconds, and those are some of the stats. Cedric Alexander, 12 carries, 83 yards. Pavia, 275 through the air. Yeah, it was great. Zaylen Wood had a sack, and it was an amazing performance. The defense, like I said, was just all over the place. CJ Hurd with an interception, big time. Call him Predator. You have Predator and Rambo in the same defense. This is all we need is Terminator, and we're going to be good. But this is great performance, like I said. But we're gonna keep talking about this. So hold on, we'll be right back. Want to talk about FanDuel for a second, right? Because FanDuel is your number one betting source for all your sports wagering needs. So wanted to check in on our betting lines here, presented by FanDuel. Minus 36.5. I took Vandy there. I hit that. If you took the over, you just barely missed it. It was you missed it by probably a half a point. It was a 48 was the total. 48.5 was the over. So if you took the over, you missed it by a half a point, which that's a tough beat. So checking in on these games. South Carolina plays tomorrow. If you took Ohio State minus 2.5, you are victorious. If you took Clemson minus 3.5, you're probably sweating that one out a little bit as we speak right now. But FanDuel is your number one source for all your sports wagering needs. Man, it is that you can bet futures. That holiday is already over, but you can still go there because they have all kind of stuff, all kind of parlays, same game parlays, live betting, whatever you want from FanDuel. So just visit the FanDuel app today. Start planning your futures bets now. Futures bets are the way to go. But if you want to get on any action, FanDuel is the number one place for you. So FanDuel, play your game. All right, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Thank you for joining me on this live stream. If you need a second listen, actually, all the postcasts that are going live around the conference are phenomenal. Some of the ones that are going final will soon happen. Locked On Ole Miss, I think, will soon be up. Locked On Sooners has had a great postcast. Locked On Bama, I'm sure, had a fun one, not for a good reason, but they went down to Florida State today. Texas probably theirs wasn't too much fun, but I feel a little validated with that Texas game, by the way, just to go slightly off topic for a second, because I did the squad show a few weeks ago, and I said Texas wouldn't make the playoffs, and I don't think if Texas loses 3 games, it's going to be hard for them to make the playoff. I don't think that they do with 3 losses, but this is strike one for them. And none of us on the squad thought Arch Manning was any good, or not any good, but like we knew he was going to struggle. We knew there was something there, and he did. He struggled mightily, and it seemed like Sark didn't really trust him on the road to really take a lot of chances. Like if you felt really good about your guy, you just unleash him and go. Right? You unleash him and go. So I thought that was interesting, but just a little validation there on that Tennessee game. The Alabama game took me by surprise for sure. And then, of course, Mississippi State looked pretty good against Southern Miss. They had a chance early on. Southern Miss had a chance to kind of strike while the iron was hot there, but they, Mississippi State just squash that, and then they ended up rolling. So good game by them against Southern Miss, against a really good Southern Miss team. So back to this game, like I said, man, this was the receiving core stood out tremendously. And Jacob, how did Jordan Matthews do? Kid's an absolute stud. Yeah, he it was tough to really see. It was tough to really quantify what the corners did because they weren't able to get many throws off. And the throws were contested, all that good stuff. There was, there was a couple of picks. CJ Hurd had a pick, Jordan Matthews, not Jacob. Jacob is you. Jordan Matthews did. I thought he was solid in coverage. They didn't really look his way much. They didn't really look a lot of people's ways, but the quarterback was just completely under duress all night long. So I thought the entire cornerback position played phenomenally. There was only a couple of plays, and some of that was just they didn't have film. So they didn't really because I mean, they could have watched last year's film, and they probably did, just to kind of see just overall just how they were. But like, I don't know that they had any specific game planning stuff because they just don't know. You have a first-time coordinator, you don't really know. You kind of just have to get an idea of what he likes, and then just play generally until you kind of figure out what they want to do. And it seemed like they adjusted pretty quick. So the corners did a really good job in communication. I thought they really did a really good job playing their job, and just was just a presence. So, specifically, a lot of times cornerbacks don't stand out unless they either A, get an interception, or B, get burnt. And Jordan Matthews did neither. So that's good. That's a good thing. So I'll get some exact stats for you here in just a second. But I was just impressed by the overall communication, though. Like, I was impressed by what they were able to bring to the table there, and just the ferociousness. I couldn't say that word. The ferociousness of what, of how they were. So they were hitting, they were flying around. Yeah. Jordan Matthews didn't record any stats, so I don't think he saw. I mean, he saw the field, but he didn't probably see much in the way of tackles or pass breakups or anything like that. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. So, but the defense, man, they were ferocious, dude. They were just flying around, dude. They were ridiculous. And I was impressed by them, man. I was impressed with, like I said, I was impressed with the communication. That was probably the biggest thing when you switch coordinators. And, I think ultimately for this defense, that's going to be the best thing. And I say this about any head coach who's a coordinator, not just Clark Lee. This is not exclusive to Clark Lee, but all of these coaches were great coordinators. That's how they got in these positions. And I don't think people realize just how insanely difficult it is to be a coach and a coordinator at the same time. And Clark Lee, I think, struggled with that at times. And I think that's why he went conservative. But, like, I don't think this defense – I think during the week it was fine. I think during the week you could tell they were well prepared. But, like, on game day, I don't know that the defense was getting coached up and adjusted the way they probably should have, because your coordinator is the head coach and he's watching the game because he's the head coach, right? And he's just limited in some of the stuff that he can do. And it's tough to say, okay, hey, go. It's tough to relay a lot of what you're thinking, because it's so much, the thoughts and the process and the adjustments are so much deeper than what you're able to get out through the headset for somebody to relay to the linebackers or D-line or so forth, or so on and so forth. I think if you have a dedicated defensive coordinator, a guy you trust, which I think 2 years ago he didn't. Well, he had somebody he thought he trusted, but he kind of failed him. Last season he took over, but he groomed Steve Gregory to kind of take over. And last year there was some bumps in the road, and there was some, it just was. I think it, that transition just wasn't as smooth, and rarely are mid-season transitions smooth. But I think in the offseason they were able to get some things down. He was able to get to a point where he felt comfortable that he didn't have to. And I'm sure he gave him feedback. I'm sure when he got chances to, they talked and they discussed things. But for the most part, Steve Gregory was in there making all the adjustments. He was in there. He was on the sidelines talking to the team. He was the guy that was rallying the troops. And so that's something that I think is a welcome addition. And one of those very underrated qualities about this team that I think is going to help them make that jump is you now got a great defensive coordinator, a guy that's aggressive, smart, knows the game, understands what Clark Lee wants, is on the same page with Clark Lee, and is every bit as knowledgeable as Clark Lee, or can be. I don't know if he has enough experience to be as knowledgeable as Clark Lee, but like he's like the aggressive side of Clark Lee. Like he's Clark Lee's aggressive alter ego is kind of how I see him, which is a great thing. So it's going to be a great thing for this defense. It's going to make it fun to watch because these guys fly around and they will knock you. They will put your butt in the dirt, dude. It's phenomenal. Mr. P, massive O-line. Love to see that, dude. One of my friends was there and texted me and he said, who who the heck is 55, dude? That guy's a mountain. And I said, yeah, that's Bryce Henderson. He's transferred from South Dakota. He's a behemoth. Could use some work on his pass, bro. I think he got a couple of holding penalties there that I think one of them wiped a touchdown away. But that's fixable. And I'm not necessarily worried about that. That's fixable. But, some of the pass pro stuff I think is all technique, right? The pass pro, it's not – and teams are going to – like, I think people don't understand when teams are able to get sacks. Like, the team is just going to – they're going to get you occasionally, right? They're going to beat you. They're going to make a call that they have one too many, and they're just going to get you every once in a while. What I'm concerned with is the technique and the ability to physically protect. And is it concerning? I mean, it's always concerning, but I think it's extremely fixable. I think it's something that they will be able to get through, and that's that's what I'm talking about. That's Isaiah Glass, and I think our tackles. What's great about our tackles is also what's can get us in trouble sometimes. They are built to be freaking bulldozers in the run game. They are built for that. And Isaiah Glass is probably, I think if Isaiah Glass gets a chance to play at the next level, he'll be a guard. He just is a guard to me. That's kind of what his skill set is. We don't really have a true tackle. And for our scheme, we don't really need one. We need a guy that's okay, that won't get us killed, but will also be able to pass pro a little bit. But the way our philosophy is, those guys are perfect for it because they're going to road grade people. I mean, there's going to be a path of bodies on a run play, and that's what's most exciting. But yeah, pass pro technique, things like that, footwork is going to be great. And 41, he is a walk-on. He's a walk-on running back, Lassiter. He hit the hole, and he was fast, dude. He might get some more playing time. He really might. He might find himself in a rotation somehow. I thought Newberry looked good. I was surprised. Honestly, I was surprised to see him as much as we did because coming off an ACL, as late as he tore his ACL, I didn't think he would be up to full strength at this point or be ready for game action. But he got a few carries, and he looked pretty spry. And he scored that touchdown. He had some burst to him. I think being able to slowly work him in is going to be beneficial. And if MK Young and Cedric can kind of shoulder that load until he can feel comfortable, then I think it's going to be good. But Ceddy, he's not really Cedric's not really a burst guy. He's not the home run guy. He's a guy that can chew up some chunk yardage, and he's a guy that will run tough, and he's real smooth and he can glide, but he has his acceleration isn't great, and it's never been great. That's not his strength. That's not his calling card. I don't know if you saw that catch. He's a great receiver out of the back. He just glides, man. I think he just gets to top speed pretty quickly and just kind of goes, right? But he's not going to change speeds. He's not going to find the hole and burst through it. He's just going to kind of cruise through it, and he's going to pinball, and he's going to run over some people, and he's going to make you feel his presence. And then he's going to make some catches like he did on that touchdown catch throughout the season. That's going to be absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, Ceddy's a good back for different reasons. He's unequivocally RB1. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If you just watch him run, watch him chew up yards, watch how patient he is, watch how well he knows the blocking schemes and sets himself up for good runs. All of his chunk yardage is set up because he is an intelligent running back. And that's kind of where he gets everything going. He's not the speed guy. He's never been that. He never probably will be that, but he is phenomenal in a lot of other ways. 35,000 capacity. That's kind of the number I was thinking about there, Adam. And it's going to be a loud 35,000. And the biggest thing with the capacity in the stadium is just getting people there, man, and not selling your tickets to opposing fans. That's the biggest key. Barnett and Richardson look good. Yes, they did. Those guys are special, man. Barnett, I really honestly didn't think he was going to play as much as he did. I knew he was having a really good camp, but I just thought there was too much ahead of him to where he wasn't gonna he was gonna be able to crack the lineup. But he scored the first touchdown of the year. That guy's got some. I mean, I knew he was fast. He was fast in high school. I talked about his number one attribute was his speed on the jet sweeps and stuff. So he looked really good. And that was nice to see. But I love the capacity. I love the stadium. I love how it was. I just love the energy of the crowd, man. And I hope it stays that way. Like I think these fans are starting to believe. I think Vandy Nation's starting to believe now. Like they heard Pavia, and I think they believe him. It's obvious they showed up, and they're going to continue to show up. I think. They really will. Like it's not your same Vanderbilt. I've been shouting that from the mountaintops for a long time. This team, yeah, they really could. I mean, there's some really good teams out there, but yeah, they really could. Like this is not a none of those games on this schedule is a circled win for the other team. Like they're like usually every year you can be like, yep, that's like you could like when I did my schedule analysis, I'm like, well, no, that's not a definitive loss. Okay, well, no, that's not a definitive loss. Well, we don't know. I mean, that's not like none of them are like definitive losses. I could have told you Texas would have been a definitive loss last year. I could have told you that coming into this year playing at DKR, but like I don't know that that's a given win for them. Arch struggled and they don't have much confidence in him, it seemed like. So I'm gonna leave y'all with this. The things I've been saying, and Jacob, if you're still with us, the things I've been saying is this team has characteristics about it that make me legitimately believe that they are turning some sort of corner. Are they going to be 12-0? Likely not. That's a tough thing to do no matter who you are. But this team has characteristics to show you that they are for real. And it's not just, hey, you're winning because you have Diego Pavia. They're attracting talent. The fans are coming out. Everybody is playing hard. Blaze Berlowitz looked comfortable tonight. And I think with some seasoning, he could be a pretty good quarterback. And so it comes down to this. The characteristics they show. They play hard. They train. They do all the right things. They're playing a lot cleaner football for the most part. I think you clean up some of the holding calls and we'll be really good. And it just seems like they're a way more intelligent team. The coaching staff has got the right makeup now. And I just think the way they've built the staff, they've got scouting people. They've got the analysts are doing a hell of a job. Jerry Kill has been a great addition. Like they've got the pieces now to be a viable program. And they're very close to being sustainable, self-sustainable, where you just replace a bolt here, a bolt there, a screw there, and the thing's going to run no matter who's there. And that's the way Clark Lee wanted to build it. And I think he's there. I think he's just about there. And then once he's there, I think once you see the fans consistently, once you see First Bank Stadium consistently be black and gold, I think you're going to know that you're there. Because like Vandy plays 12 road games a year. That's one of the last missing pieces. And so as of right now, they only have a potential to play 11 road games because the first one was not a road game. And when I say 12 road games, I mean like other teams home away from home, which we're all used to, right? So I think if we can flip that as fans, that's our part as fans, right? That's our part. And so that's how we can make sure we know that this thing is for real. And we're going to get a good sense of Virginia Tech and South Carolina tomorrow. So that's going to be cool. But next week will be a gauge, but tonight was definitely a breath of fresh air. Yeah, absolutely. And so I think Vanderbilt they're ready to compete, man. So let's make it happen. And next week's going to be exciting. So we got a great week of shows lined up next week. So tune in. Obviously, on the next episode, I'm probably gonna dive into I'm probably going to do a deeper dive into this game. What did we really gain? What did we really learn? What's coming out of this? And we're going to get an early look at Virginia Tech, kind of what they have that's going to present problems. Kyron Jones is probably problem number one. He's a pretty dang good quarterback, so we'll probably spend some time talking about him and Brent Pry, who's got his back against the wall. And when you have a coach that has a back against the wall, it's a dangerous thing. Just ask Clark Lee. He had his back firmly against the wall last year. And he fought his way off. But and then we'll look at obviously what Clark Lee has to say midweek, and then hopefully do a crossover, get the Virginia Tech perspective, and then of course keys, predictions, things like that to finish out the week, and then a postcast. So 2:00 tomorrow Central Time, Virginia Tech, South Carolina. Check that out if you want to scout. If you want to just get a good look at who are playing the next 2 weeks. And until then, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Make sure you check out the show on a daily basis on the YouTube side or the audio side, whatever you choose. Make sure you choose it well. And if you're an audio only listener and you happen to be listening to this, just go over to the YouTube page. Just click subscribe if you haven't, and just that would mean the world to me. So I want to continue to grow this thing. And I want to continue to grow this thing for not just for me, but for y'all, but for Vandy. Like, Vandy needs that outlet. Nobody speaks up for Vandy. That's why I'm here. That's what I do. And I got y'all's back. So until next time, anchor down. Peace out. Congratulations, Vandy, taking care of business 45-3, covering the spread like I said they should. And we'll break it all down next week, getting ready for the Hokies up next. So we'll see you back then. Peace.